In 1911, in a garment factory in New York City, 146 workers died in what's known as the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. This fire was one of the greatest tragedies of the industrial era, but what came out of it are three incredibly important innovations. First, unions were formed to ensure that people had a say in what their workplace looked like and that they were making livable wages. Second, workplace protection laws were put into place to make sure the environments in which they were working in were also safe. And third, after enough incidents were collected, OSHA was formed to ensure that companies were held to the standards which they said they were holding. Fast forward 50 years, and in the 1960s, the Cold War was occurring. It was one of the most dangerous periods in history for our country. What came out of it, though, were three more very important innovations. The internet was created, the first satellites were sent into space, and the first people left Earth. Right now, we look at these periods of history and understand the pain people were going through, but know that in these periods of adversity, we were advanced more than any period around it. And right now, we're in another period of adversity. The coronavirus has killed over 500,000 people, and everybody is scared, and a lot of people are thinking in a negative mindset. That's easy to do considering how much pain the world has seen in the past year. But fortunately, we have made great innovations that will stick with us past the coronavirus. Work from home has been expanded. People have access to the internet who never had it before, and workplace culture is being reevaluated as the workplace itself changes. These are great things, and in order to harness them fully, we just need to have an adaptive mindset and make these plans actionable. Adopting an adaptive mindset is a relatively easy thing to do. Instead of thinking about what we can't do and what we couldn't do, we can look at what we will be able to do in the future and how we can make it happen. Work from home is a great example. Right now, not everybody likes working from home. However, a lot of people are doing it. Michael Bloom, Stanford economist, showed that by the end of June in 2020, 44% of workers were doing their work from home. This is up greatly from any period in history, and it's something that is actually great. Because while not everybody will want to stay home after the coronavirus is over, some people will want to stay home, but also some people have to stay home. Not everybody has transportation to work, and others were commuting over an hour to get to work. If you had 2 extra hours in your day, what would you do with it? You might spend time with your family. You might go and develop a new task or a new hobby. But also, you might just work on your mental health and rest. These are things which were not possible before. And if we think about the fact that we can do that now, instead of the fact that we can't go into the office right now, all of a sudden the world looks a lot better. Also, more people have access to the internet than they ever had before. Pew Research data from April of 2021 shows that 93% of people have access to the internet. This is up from under 90% just 5 years ago, and those people are doing work from home. If we think about the fact that we didn't need the internet before, it's easy to think about that negatively. But now, if we look at a population who wasn't working before, that's able to work because of what we've come up with, that's a great thing. But in order to make it fully actionable and fully beneficial, things need to change within the workplace. First, it's important to look at the fact that diversity is a problem in the workplace. Right now, a lot of companies are doing great work. However, they're all thinking in the same way. If a company were to hire somebody from an underprivileged neighborhood in an underprivileged community, they would unlock a whole new market. Not only is this beneficial to the company, because they're expanding their customer base. It's beneficial to the community because people are getting access to work and able to feed their families that weren't ever able to before. Looking at another thing very important to making this happen, however, is access to a reasonable speed of internet. Right now, while 93% of people do have access to the internet, their speeds aren't equitable. Speed test data shows that right now, 50 megabits per second is the average speed in the United States. Right now, the wealthiest cities have an average speed of over 100 megabits per second though, and that skews the data quite a bit. The reality is that majority of the cities have a speed under 10 megabits per second. With video conferencing and interactive online activities becoming more important to the workplace, internet has to be looked at in a new way. It has to be treated like a utility if we want it to be sustainable and if we want it to be something that changes the status quo. Companies can help by providing mobile hotspots. Cities can look at forming fiber optic line. There are different ways to approach the problem, but one of these things has to be done. I was very fortunate to have found a startup in the time of coronavirus. With this, I found a group from 7 different states who were all in different socioeconomic statuses and had different mindsets. Because of this, we've been able to expedite our processes and create prototypes for an app which is solving problems that people are developing right now. I've seen firsthand what it's like to use an adaptive mindset and to make these things actionable. And in order to do it, I thought about what can I do with what we've come up with in the past year. If you want to do the same, stop thinking about where we were a year ago and what normal was like before coronavirus. Because while that normal may have felt comfortable, what we can do and what we will do will form a new normal that will leave us wondering how we even functioned in a world pre-coronavirus.